Okay, what we're going to do is take and find the greatest common factor between 25 and 55. We're going to use that GCF to add the two numbers using distributive property. So what that means is we're going to make a list of all the factors of 25, which are 1, 5, and 25. And we're going to find the greatest common factor of that number and 55. So 55 is 1, 5, 11, and 55. We can talk more about how to find these using a factor tree. You remember that we match the numbers to make sure that there's a factor pair, or in this case, the square root of the factor. So when we make these two lists, you'll find that they have 5 in common. So how does that help us with distributive property? Well, when you look at 25 and 55, in your homework you'll notice that we want to add them. So 25 plus 55, we put in parentheses, and we're going to rewrite it using distributive property. Well, you know that the greatest factor they share is 5. So let's rewrite them as 5 times 5 and 5 times 55. Now remember, right now you could probably do this in your head. Adding 25 and 55 is easier because you're working with friendly numbers. The goal is not to find the easiest way. Right now we want to use distributive property while it's still easy. So 5 times 5 and 5 times, 5 times, this should be 11. I'm sure you're jumping out of your seat. What can we lift out of both of these? Well, we know from practice that that's the same as 5 times 5 and 5 times 11. Well, in this case today, we're going to actually add the two numbers in the parentheses, which is 16, and multiply by 5. And you get, well, 5 times 10 is 50, and 5 times 6 is 30. It gives you a total of 80. So could we do this in our head? Yes, you could. You could add those numbers simply in your head just by respecting place value. But you could also use distributive property. Keep in mind, distributive property is not the easiest way to do some things, but later on when you get into more complicated math, you will find distributive property is a good way to simplify other problems.